morning and greetings in the wonderful name of Jesus. For this morning, I'm afraid about what I like to do, or we would like to do as a series of study. And thanks to Gail for correcting me. It's pronounced Kalim. I pronounce it Kalim. So we're doing a series of study on Kalim. Now, I know this is not quite a familiar letter to most of us, but we are used to studying the grand book of the Romans, the Galatians, and Revelation. I'd like us to spend the next 4 Sundays on this book of Philemon. Now, it's not that long. In fact, it's the third shortest book both in the New Testament and in the entire Bible. So let me just invite you over to turn your Bibles to that letter. It's after 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, the Titus, and the Philemon after that. So just follow with me silently as I read this to you. It's 25 verses. Paul, a prisoner of Christ Jesus, and Timothy, our brother, to Philemon, our beloved brother and fellow worker, and to Eusebio and to Archippus, our fellow soldier, to the church in your house. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. I thank God always, making mention of you in my prayers, because I hear of your love and of the faith that you have toward the Lord Jesus and toward all the saints. And I pray that the fellowship of your faith may become perfected through the knowledge of every good thing which is in you for Christ's sake. Verse 7. For I have come to have much joy and comfort in your love, because the love of the saints has been refreshed through you, brother. Therefore, though I have enough confidence in Christ to order you to do that which is proper, yet for God's sake I rather appeal to you, since I am such a person as Paul the aged, and now also a prisoner of Christ Jesus. I appeal to you for my child, whom I have begotten in my imprisonment, Onesimus, who formerly was useless to you, but now is useful both to you and to me. And I have sent him back to you in person, that in sending my very heart, whom I wish to keep with me, that in your behalf he might minister to me in my imprisonment for the gospel. Verse 14. But without your consent, I did not want to do anything, that your goodness should not be, as it were, by compulsion, but of your own free will. Verse 15. For perhaps he was for this reason departed from you for a while, that you should have him back forever. No longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a brother, beloved, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. Verse 17. If then you regard me as a partner, accept him as you would me. But if he has wronged you in any way, or opposed you anything, charge that to my account. I, Paul, am writing this with my own hand. I will repay it, lest I should mention to you that you owe to me even your own self as well. Verse 20. Yes, brother, that me benefit from you in the Lord, refresh my heart in Christ, having confidence in your obedience, I write to you, since I know that you will do even more than what I say. And at the same time also prepare me a lodging, for I hope that through your prayers I shall be given to you. Epaphras, my fellow prisoner in Christ Jesus, greet you, and we Mark, Aristarchus, Demas, Luke, and fellow workers, the grace of the Lord Jesus be with your spirit. Let's respond to the moment of prayer. Holy Spirit, take hold of us now, descend upon us, teach us, open our eyes and our hearts, that we may know wondrous things from the Lord. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, the limit. Before we dig into the book itself, but actually this is technically a letter. And how do we distinguish between a letter and an epistle? An epistle is written to a church, to a group of people. A letter is more of a personal nature, so that's why when we speak about the piece of writing that Paul addressed to Timothy, the first and second Timothy is referred more as a letter to Timothy rather than an epistle to Timothy. It is an epistle to the church of Corinth and so on and so forth. This was the distinction. So before we dig in, let's just ask ourselves some basic questions regarding the background. Just first to know what this letter is all about, the circumstances of the writing itself, the wrote and the time of this letter. It is important for us to do this because as we go along, we'll try to understand what is going on and at the same time understand all the issues connected with the issue itself that Paul is bringing up in this letter. The next question to ask is this. The Holy Spirit doesn't make any mistake in terms of what book needs to be added into the Bible and what forgets. So there might be a question, why did a simple personal letter be included in the book itself, in the core of the Bible? Well, it's the decision of the Holy Spirit. And this is why there's a reason, even though this letter is such a short letter in comparison to all the rest of the Bible. Okay, so go over this letter. Of course, its name right away, right at the beginning of the letter, is the way they wrote before. They write so and so, the name of the writer, and then it is the next thing that they write is the person's address in the letter. Today, the format that we usually follow, and of course, because of the advent of email, it's become more like informal. But the way we used to write before, let's remember this is that we start with dear someone. Today, we just simply say in the email, hi there, or hello, someone. But during the older days, dear Richard. There's a greeting, and at the end would be, after the salvation of the body, and the end would be, sincerely yours, so and so. That's how they wrote. That's how we wrote it. But back then, it's dear someone, and then this is from, and this is the purpose of the letter. And at the end would usually be the blessing. There will always be a frequency after the letter. Anyway, there is not much debate about who wrote this. There's less controversy about the authorship. Everyone, even liberal theologians and scholars, believe this is written by Paul the Apostle. And it's very important for us to know this because this has to be authenticated. It's not the original piece, otherwise it's written by some other Paul. Then this is not something we should be studying about in different study. So this is written by Paul. However, we also read in Philippians and verse 1, say there, Paul, a prisoner of Christ Jesus, and Timothy. So apparently this letter is co-authored by Timothy. This is a letter that is a letter by two persons. More often than not, because there's more emphasis on the principle, which is Paul, we just say this is a letter of one person, which is Paul. I don't think we should understand it that way, because when Paul said this is a letter of me and Timothy, Timothy is not just a sidekick or a yes man to Paul. This is a letter in which Paul wrote, and then after he has written the letter, he goes over to Timothy and says, hey, Timothy, I got a letter to Philemon. What do you think? Add your name? Then Timothy wouldn't say something like, okay, you just put my name there as part of the co-author. No. The problem that happened was that Paul sat down with Timothy, and they were going through the issues, going on the characters involved in Onesimus and Archippus and Philemon. And so after discussing all the issues, they agreed together, all intimately, that it is what we should be like. So that's a little bit of information that involved this. And most scholars and commentators say that this is one of the earlier letters that Paul wrote, probably in his first imprisonment, more or less around the year 60 AD, give or take a couple of years. And if we say that this is written in that time period, we're talking here of his first Roman imprisonment. And the way he described himself is that he was under house arrest. And that fits perfectly to that situation when he was first imprisoned, he was under house arrest. And there is a close connection with the letter or epistle that he wrote to Colossae. If we take a look at the persons mentioned in the epistle to Colossae and the persons that he all mentioned who was with him in the letter to Philemon, we see that there is an almost one-to-one correspondence. So we see that Aristarchus, Mark, Epaphras, Luke, Demas are all mentioned in both letters. And it said that the carrier of this letter is contained in letters both the epistle to Colossae and Philemon were handcarried by Tychicus himself, or Tychicus, and Onesimus with him. And for the recipients here, well, we see that this is a letter addressed to Philemon, but then there are also other recipients. So we take a look. There's written to Philemon that also in verse 2 we read to Archippus. Now that's a feminine name, presumably the wife of Philemon, and Archippus. Now Archippus is someone who is referred to as a fellow soldier. It's also mentioned in Colossians chapter 4, verse 17. Archippus, they teach the ministry that you have received in the Lord that you may fulfill it. So practically Archippus has a position in the church. So many commentators are of the opinion that he's also a co-elder or a co-pastor in the same church, where Philemon is also referred to as a fellow laborer, being a pastor as well. They were both pastors in the same church, Philemon and Archippus. So this is a personal letter by Paul to Philemon. That letter should be shared also to his wife and to the other daughter in the church, and even to the entire church itself, and to the church in your house. So that's the address. Now, what's the reason for writing? Well, we've read it before, and I guess it's quite out there for us to know what the reason for the writing for. There are those who take this small composition as a treatise, for example, on slavery, or a manifesto on slavery. No, we don't want to go that far, although there are issues involving slavery, and perhaps in the coming Sundays we'll take a look at that more in detail. But the reason for this is more than intrigue, more than a appeal. This is a heartfelt, tender, humble plea on behalf of someone, a runaway slave named Onesimus. And I guess because the whole letter is all about him, I wanted to entitle my series as Onesimus rather than Philemon. Philemon is the address C, but the subject is actually Onesimus. So he's a runaway slave in a Christian world, and Paul is now writing on his behalf to this like a letter of referral. This is more than a letter of referral. It's a character reference. Just imagine having a God reference letter written by the Apostle Paul himself. And so Onesimus had the privilege of bearing with him a character reference letter to his employer, Philemon. Now, who could have a better, letter of introduction than that? So, in a sense, this is a personal endorsement of a truly converted sinner Apostle Paul called him a brother and his spiritual son. But take note how personal this letter was. If you look at Philemon chapter 19, Paul said this, that he is righteous with his own hand. Normally, I guess because probably Paul was not having good eyesight anymore, or probably because he had some trembling in his hand, so he would write it personally, his letters. But this particular letter, Paul said, I'm writing this myself. That shows to us how personal this letter is. And this is the appeal that Paul said, that I may be very bold in Christ to command you. Although I am an apostle, I have every authority and right to do this. Yet for love's sake, this is what Paul is saying, I want to appeal to you, speaking for being such a one as all the angels, and I'm also personally I appeal to you for my son, Onesimus, whom I have begotten while in my chains, who once was unprofitable to you, but now it's profitable to you and me. I am sending him back, and therefore receive him, that is my own heart. Now, we need to ask the basic questions. With this small letter, with all the issues involved about slavery, about Onesimus, and taking back and all of this, we have to ask this question, and I guess this is a question we have to ask for the rest of our study in the series, is this: what did a personal letter by the Apostle Paul to the Christian slave owner and master named we have anything to unite today? What teachings can be drawn out of this letter and the whole circumstances surrounding the story of the letter? This letter has a unique story to tell, and we need to look into that and what possible teachings we can derive from it. And of course, what is the practical and spiritual lessons that we can learn from this letter? Now, let me first, in our first outing in the series, look into two very important things that come out from the story itself. Two things. And what stands out is the sovereignty of God in salvation in two areas. In the salvation of the lost and in the sovereignty of God's providence of saving the lost. Now, the Bible tells us, most of us know this, that sinners, we are described as being lost. And this is what Jesus came for. Luke chapter 19, verse 10, we read, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. So all of us fall into this category of sinners who are lost. But whenever we find or read this word lost, it doesn't mean that it refers to someone who's just simply running around in circles, or that he is simply confused, or that he doesn't know his way around. It doesn't mean that we forgot our GPS or maps. That kind of being lost. But when we being lost in the New Testament, especially in the Word of God, it refers to not being able to find his way back to God. That is the meaning of being lost in the Bible. Being lost because we have lost the way, and we don't know how to find our way back to God. That's why in the parable of the two brothers, at the end, you see the father be very happy to see his son come back. He said this, for we have to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. He has found his way back to me, his father. So we should understand being lost in that way, because it relates very much to our understanding of salvation. That's why we need that way. Jesus said, I am the way for those who are lost and are not able to find their way back to the Father. And that's why Jesus said, I am the way to the Father. And in fact, the early Christians were known to be of the way. The early Christians were not known by the name of Baptists, Presbyterians, or Methodists, or whatnot. No. Jesus didn't leave behind, or did the apostles leave behind a name for us to be identified with. In Antioch, they were first known to be of the party of Christ, or Christianity, or Christians. But here in Acts chapter 9, verse 2, there is a reference to the people of the way. This is what Paul or Saul was doing when he was still persecuting the church. He was asked for letters from him to the synagogues of Damascus so that he found any belonging to the way. So the church of Jesus was people of the way. That was a distinction because those are not lost anymore. They have found their way through Jesus back to the Father. Why is this very important for us? Because we must understand that in the story of Onesimus, we see the lostness of a sinner. And Martin Luther himself would say that in many ways we are all Onesimuses. We are Onesimuses in terms of our being lost. And we need to find our way back to the Father in Christ. So, how lost was Onesimus? So they said he's a runaway slave. Now, runaway slave during the time is commonplace. Slaves always do that. In fact, the government has a list of missing persons, and most of them were just runaway slaves. So let's look at the character of Onesimus before he became a Christian. Well, this is what we can find in him. We find that Onesimus was an ingrate. He had no sense of gratitude or even appreciation for such a kind employer as Philemon. Now, we're told that Philemon, his master, is a Christian. And not only a Christian, he's a pastor. So we must assume that he would have treated Onesimus in a Christian way. So he was serving, Onesimus was serving in a Christian household in Colossae. Like I said, it's not just a Christian household, but in the house of a pastor as a master. In Philemon chapter 1, we know this reference, fellow worker or fellow laborer, is a title or a reference that is reserved only to those who are in the ministry or who are in the ministry. For Timothy, for example, Paul used this. Timothy, our brother and minister, not our fellow laborer. This word fellow laborer is not used by Paul to list about anybody. It refers to someone who is in the ministry alongside Paul or working the gospel in the capacity as an intentional minister. Also, another place in Philippians chapter 2, verse 25, that I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, our brother and a third fellow worker. So Epaphroditus was a missionary pastor, and so when we go back to Philemon, Philemon is not a Christian. He is a Christian master and pastor of the church. So, for a slave named Onesimus to serve under him would in fact be a favor, because he would be a kind master. But yet, in spite of that, we know Onesimus will show signs of being grateful at all, in spite of the fact that he ate on the same table as his master, ate the same food as his master, and he was, the receiving end of all the support of his master. So we find him to be an ingrate. He had no sense of gratitude. Despite the fact that he received fair treatment and fair wages, what he did was he did not just bite off the hand that he severed the hand that he and really doesn't know what to say thank you. The second thing we can know about Onesimus is that he was lazy and he was opinionated. I guess Paul used this word. I appeal to you for my son Onesimus, who became my son while I was in chains. Formerly he was useless to you. Now, most probably that Onesimus will be one of the slaves serving in the household of Philemon. So among the slaves, Onesimus would probably be the laziest. So Philemon would probably leave him in the house and would leave him behind with some instructions over them. I'm going away. Okay? Maybe come back later today. Now, Onesimus, I want you to clean the furnace. So when I get back, I want to see the furnace. So Philemon comes back, then and the furnace is still as dirty as it was. And Onesimus isn't dirty. He was hard-headed. He was opinionated about himself. He was lazy. I think that's exactly what the word means. Useless. You were useless before. Onesimus was this kind of a disobedient slave and has high opinion of himself. So whenever Onesimus was receiving instruction, he wouldn't listen to his master. He wouldn't follow his orders. And probably, you can be a slave during this time, but just by being captured in battle, you can choose actually to become a slave. Even if you're a free man, you can eat because you have little means to get by. But when you are part of a bigger household, there will be ample supply of food and shelter and protection. So some become slaves by choice. Some become slaves because they owe money. And in order to pay back the debt, they pay back in kind of service. And some slaves become slaves because they are born into a family of slaves. The slaves that serve a certain family has been there for several generations, and grandchildren and children after them were also born slaves. So most likely Onesimus was born a slave. So what was going on in his mind? And he was working under this man. And he was looking at the rich. He was looking at the free man. And probably what was going on in his heart was something like this. Well, I had no choice. I was born into slavery. I don't like to be bossed around. I don't like other people who tell me what to do. So, in a sense, because of this, he wanted freedom. I did not choose this kind of life. My same parents did. Or you may have done something like, why was I not born rich? Why am I not born a free man? So, he was not only an ingrate, he was not only useless and lazy and opinionated, he was also a thief and a traitor. That was what Onesimus was. He was a thief and a traitor. Why a traitor? Because he betrayed the trust of his master. Now, if you, I not have it explained yet, but according to the readings, if you are serving as a slave in a big household, there are no security guards. You watch over one another. So all the things are just out there. The gold, the great set, the big top of the table, all the valuables are out in the open. So how easy it would be to grab these things and run away with it? So easy. That's why there are only two reasons why a slave would run away. One would be if he is being harshly treated by his master, so he can't stand it anymore. He runs away. The second reason is when they steal something. When they steal something, of course, you don't stick around and hold on to the piece of gold you just stole. You run away with it. Go to somewhere, someplace where you can get these and enjoy it. So, Onesimus is both a thief and a traitor. That's why when we read in Titus, we read this: teach slaves to be subject to their masters and everything to try to please them and to talk back to them. In verse 10, not to steal from them. The masters have so much trust in those who serve in the household that they don't have a guard or a security guard or a CCTV camera to watch every move they have. All the valuables are out in the open. So Onesimus can easily do that. Took from his master Philemon. And also in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28, when we read this, that means who steals, steal longer. I guess this is a word addressed to all workers. Those who work under the employ of someone else, because there is so much trust involved in that situation. Well, we know we have working companies, and that can easily be betrayed. So, like today, examples of employees who can embezzle funds from their companies because of too much trust. If you've been entrusted with the secrets of your company, things like that, you can easily betray your company and run away with this corporate secrets and go to a rival company and sell it and make money. And we know what it is. It comes in many forms. Like we can steal the time that we are being paid for work. You know about the story about this guy who was working at Canadian Mint, and he stole one piece of cloth, one piece of the time. And you know the story how he was able to do it. But there was even security. But again, there's trust involved in working. And so it happens now, it happened before. That's why when Paul entreated, he pleaded with Philemon. He said this words: if he has done anything wrong with his conscience, or owes you anything, I'll pay it myself. Charge it to my account. This is me. I, Paul. I'm writing this with my own hand. I will pay it back. Not to mention that you owe me himself. So in a sense, Paul's way is not just being diplomatic, it's just simply being kind. He's not saying, oh, thief, Onesimus, I have him with me. No, he doesn't say something like that. He's saying, if he is, of course, we know of, I'll pay you back. That's why Paul says. So, but I guess, another thing we can see in Onesimus is that he was actually Hitler, and he hated God. You know, let's try to imagine this kind of situation where he was in. He was serving under a Christian household. You know what else was going on every Sunday in the house of Philemon? There was a regular Sunday worship service that was going on, being held in the house of Philemon. Where do you find that? Of course, we just read about it. Through the church that meets in your home. Now, because Onesimus is part of the household, so he has to attend the Sunday worship services. And if our theory is correct that he was born a slave into slave parents within the household of Philemon, he must have attended Sunday school if they had something like that. And so he knew how to go to church. He sang the hymns that they sang. He sat down listening to the preaching of Pastor Philemon and Pastor Archippus. And still, we see that he was still lost. He was listening to the preachings. Did you know what was going on in the mind of Onesimus? In the house of Philemon, when they were holding this worship services, his mind was far away. While listening to Pastor Philemon preaching, what's going on probably in his mind was, I'm going to rob you of your gold. I'm going to run away. Probably this is something that is going on, was planning for some time. So let's just try to imagine. Who do you know that? We don't need to make names. How we can come to church, sit down, and listen, and yet our minds are running away. It's not focused to the word. And this is Onesimus. So when he ran away, he was lost twice. Onesimus was missing physically, and he was also missing spiritually. But yet we find the grace of God. He was twice lost, but he was only found once. Again, as Paul, and by the grace of God. So this is a kind of story that seems to have started as something that's bad, but in fact this is a story that is a good and happy ending. Because this is why I'm saying that this letter ought to be entitled Onesimus, not Philemon or Philemon, because it is centered on Onesimus. Because this is actually a flash report. This is breaking news from Apostle Paul, telling Philemon that you're worthless, useless, ingrate, and a slave. Who's not a Christian is now a believer. It's not like brother. You no emotions connected to that? Well, let's see this read you one verse. I say to you that likewise there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 just persons who need repentance. And I guess we're getting more into the story. The Apostle Paul was excited to break the news to Philip. And Onesimus is now a believer, is now a Christian. How good a news could that be? And so, we see here the sovereignty of God's grace in saving the lost. However much we are lost in our sins, however much we are like Onesimus, we are ingrate. We don't want to say thank you to the things that we enjoy from God, from people. We take for granted even the freedom that we have and the things we enjoy, we're privileged, and all these things put together, we're all in Onesimus, yet the grace of God. Oh, the grace that sought me, oh, the blood that bought me. It changed Onesimus as it changed us as well. We know that. Behold, the Lord's hand is not so short that he cannot save, neither is his ear so dull that he cannot hear. But your iniquities have made a separation between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, so that you must fear the Lord God. Even Jesus can be able to save the sinner to the uttermost. Because he continues forever, as Jesus has an unchangeable priesthood, therefore he is also able to save to the uttermost, even a worthless, useless, ingrate, hypocrite, and misuse. And then on the line, put in your name there. Therefore he is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he always lived to make intercession for them. So that's the sovereignty of God's grace in saving the lost. Well, another important thing here that we shouldn't miss at all is this. It's the sovereignty of God's providence. How God overrules and superintends every moment and circumstances of our lives and bring it to good. You know, when Onesimus ran away, he didn't just run away to the next door neighbor. We see that Onesimus ran away as far as he could. How do we know that? Well, he's from Colossae, and he was now in Rome. How far is that? That's about 2,000 kilometers. And those days, or 1,200 miles. In those days, that would take about 3 weeks of sailing in the open seas, in the Adrian Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea. And perhaps some of the money that you stole from Rome, you used to pay money because you didn't have there, unless you had to pay the ship, you want to ride in. And so he ran away as possible. Also, another thing, we see that Onesimus ran away with the intent not to be seen or heard again. And again, we have the question, how do we know this? He didn't run to a small town place. You know how small town works? I've been to some small towns in the previous jobs, states, and places where there's not too many people in places. You would right away be, singled out as someone who's not from here. You're not from here. Yes. Because everybody knows everybody else in a small place. Elizabeth didn't go there. He went to Rome, the metropolis of the time. It's like you come from a small town in Alberta, and you want to hike, where do you go to? You go to Toronto. You go with 6 million people. You get to see, hide yourself in crowds. And this is what Elizabeth did. He faked Rome. He can, there was no footprint in the time, digital footprint or paper plate, so you can easily get lost. If you intend to be Missing, you can be missing. That's easy. And this was probably even have assumed a different identity. How easy it is to deny who you are. Example of Peter, when he denied that he was Peter and he knew Christ. He denied Christ in that. But this shows us how easy it is during that day to say, I'm Robert. The next moment you can say, I'm Edward. That's how quick it is. So, in this instance, run away as far as you want. You can run the big place or you can easily be lost in the crowd. So, he had no intention whatsoever to be found or to be known. Now, there's one commentator I've read, and I have a high respect for him. He's a good scholar. And he said something like, the reason why Philemon, or Onesimus, was in Rome was to seek out Paul. And I said, that doesn't make sense. Why would I go with someone who knows my master? Why would I be home? What's the point of my running away? So however good the commentator is, I won't go with that whole idea. This doesn't make sense. What is the penalty for runaway slave? The master is like to kill him. It's his choice. So you are a runaway, like in this ministry. Do you ever think to be found? If your life is on the line? Of course not. Why would I be found? Because I'm already free. I don't want to die anymore. I don't want to go back to the master because the master is ready to kill me. So Onesimus does not intend to be killed, but intend to be found. Okay, the next question asked is, what is the statistical probability that Onesimus and the Apostle Paul would meet? Okay, let me just walk you through quickly what this is all about. This is not going to give the probability. This is, we take a number of places, the possible places that Onesimus would go to. Multiply that number by the number of people in these places. And then multiply that over with the number of times that these people will be in a place that is public and that they will see Onesimus. Would it be 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, 100? I guess 1 in a million is easy, a probability. And what does that mean? The kind of statistics simply mean that it is humanly impossible for Onesimus to meet all of those 100,000. Yet you see, like I said, how many missing persons, for example, have gone missing for a long time? Let me go to Walmart here in Kennedy, Midland Park, and then in Midland Park. You go to the entrance, you've been there, you see the wall there, there are pictures of missing persons. You can just take that and stand there and just read a couple of them. You will see how long they have been missing. For years, for many years. That's how long. This is what I'm going to say. A missing person, unless forcibly adopted or kidnapped, will stay missing. They have mental issues themselves. Because most of the time, a missing person will continue to be missing because they have no intention to be found. Like I said, unless they're kidnapped, or they're just really wrong with their sense of direction, but most missing persons are missing. Not because they're gone, but they're just out there that they just want to be found. This is what Onesimus was. And so this makes our story so amazing. Of Onesimus meeting the Apostle Paul in a big place like the city of Rome. Because despite of all the efforts of Onesimus, grace found him out. The second thing, he doesn't make a worship services in the house of his master Philemon. He ran away from it. He doesn't want to be found. But because he was an elect, he was a true child of God, this is what I can see here in the story, that grace found him out. I'd be very happy that was the story of our salvation. That we were sovereignly saved. That our salvation is secured because he himself, the shepherd, sought out the lost sheep. Oh, the love that sought me. Oh, the blood that bought me. Keep singing that over and over again. This is the story of Onesimus. This is our story of grace. Despite of all the efforts of Onesimus, grace found him out. Grace will always find out the elect. Of course, not to say that sinners are dragged to heaven against their will, no, nothing like that. But what it means is that if one is truly a child of God, however sinful we are, or however we are in circumstances and events that are so circumvenous and discombobulated or whatnot, the root may be grace will work out circumstances and events to save you if you are chosen by God. It's great comfort, isn't it? Because God really does intend to save. What does it teach us? It teaches again the basics. The basics. That ultimately it is in God's hands that one is born again. Read this. For as many as receive him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in him. Verse 13, who were born not of blood, not of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of God, but of not the will of man. And so he has the final say in whom he loves. And this is what makes that unconditional love of God to sinners like us very beautiful and so amazing. And not only this, but then Rebekah also had conceived by one man, even by our father Isaac, for the children not yet born, the twins, nor having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand not of works, but of him who called. It was said to her, the older shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated. On what basis? Nothing whatsoever in the things that are found in both Esau and Jacob. It is simply this. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness of God? Is God unfair? Certainly not. God is never unfair. For he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whomever I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whomever I will have compassion. So then it is not of him who wills or of him who runs, but of God who shows mercy. Remember Onesimus. Onesimus was lost. So hopelessly lost. But grace found him. How lost were we when we were not yet found? We could probably say something like what Onesimus would probably have said when he found grace. And he has the final say. God is the final say whom you love. He has the final say who gives the increase. Okay. Here is Onesimus, a runaway slave, an unbeliever, grew up in a church, in a house church. We had two pastors ministering to him, Pastor Philemon, and Pastor Archibus. Now let me ask the question. Is Philemon and Archibus a failure? Because they failed to convert Onesimus. Onesimus has to run away as far as Rome in order for him to be Christian over there by Paul. Sometimes we always equate our whole understanding of success in the number of converts we are able to convert. I can go on and on in all places of Scripture to show to us that the kind of a thinking is humanistic. Think of innocence. Think of innocence. Pastor Philemon was not a failure. Pastor Archibus in Colossae was not a failure insofar as innocence is concerned. Because God is sovereign. God can save us in so many ways, in so many forms, and through different agencies. Because Paul said this. Who then is Paul? Who then is Apollos? The ministers through whom you believe. The Lord gave to each one. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So neither he who plants is anything, he who waters is anything, but God alone, because he gives the increase. We don't want to grab or rob God of any credit that is due to him. Now, so when one becomes a Christian, we don't thank the preacher, we don't thank the instrumentality, we can only thank. Oh, the praise that found us. Oh, the love that sought us. Oh, the blood that bought us. It's all right to say amen. Because that's what's our salvation. God receives all the glory, and we are sovereignly saved. Today's standards, I've said, the success or failure of the ministry is always, always, but in general, please consider in terms of the number of people coming to the church, or how much people go to the collection. We're a small church. Do we say our failure? Anyone who says that, go back to Onesimus. Go back to him. The only thing God requires of us is to be faithful. If Midland Park Baptist Church would be the only church where we plainly proclaim the word of God as it is, then my success is not, our success is not here. It's with Jesus who will say those very wonderful words. Well done. Successful servants. Well done. Good and faithful servant. The more I read into this book of Philemon, and as I said, it's something new to me as well, so I'm also learning this together with you. I'm growing to love Jesus more. I'm growing in love. Oh my God. It's so amazing. God is sovereign to work out circumstances and instrumentalities to achieve his purposes. We can be used, yes, but ultimately it's not only foolish but blasphemous to say that the ministry will rise or fall because of a man. Of course, people will look for a certain personality, a charismatic personality. That's why they tried on television, for example. But that is not what we are called to. And this presents to us the biggest encouragement to our evangelism. Because what Paul had met Onesimus is nothing but sovereign grace. That Paul was used to the conversion of Onesimus, this becomes a bonus. Our salvation is not dependent on us. Sinners who are sure to come and believe in Jesus. Not in our abilities to be able to pitch a sail or have a superpower in convincing and persuasion. Paul and his missionary team were having problems in Corinth. Please take your 5 minutes now. And this is what God to the Spirit told them. They wanted to move over, they wanted to get away from Corinth. The opposition was very strong. This is what the Spirit said to him. And the Lord spoke to Paul in the night vision, do not be afraid, but speak and do not keep silent. For I am with you. No one will attack you to hurt you. What is the next sentence? For I have many people in this city. They were newcomers. Paul and his missionary team were newcomers. They're not from Corinth. They're not robots. So here's God, here's Jesus telling them, stay here. I have people. I have people who you haven't met yet. And these people are my people. And when you preach them and they hear you preach it, they will come to me. Christ has a lot of people in this building. Christ has a lot of people in this building, in this whole community. They may be wearing something on their heads. But who are we, you or I, to tell that they are not Christ's people? The only way we can know that is when we faithfully proclaim the gospel, and they positively respond to it, and they are. They are. Okay. So the way of application, speak with you a couple of points. Number one is we should never underestimate the power of God's sovereignty and providence in salvation. Because there is no such thing as a sinner who is so sinful enough that God can save. Maybe you have a low view of yourself. Maybe you see yourself as maybe the chiefest of all sinners. But God kind of view himself. There's no worse sinner if the place of God is not able to save. Just imagine innocence. Innocence is not someone you don't associate with, or could be friends with, or could be someone like him at all. But he gets saved. He gets saved. The second thing is that we should not despair or point accusing fingers at people who say that a certain work does not succeed, quote unquote, because of them. Now here's the paradox. Those who are religious are actually far away from him. And those who we say that are far from him are drawn near to him. Remember the paradox. Those who are invited to the party didn't come. But he said, compel the lame, the blind, those who've been rejected by society, and come and invite them with you. God will surely save his people. That I can say from Scripture is an absolute certainty. Where we read that for those going back from you, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son. Doesn't stop there, it continues on, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers, and those whom he predestined, he also called those, and he called, he justified those, he justified those. How sure and secure a salvation could be. So we shouldn't fret, we shouldn't panic, or beat ourselves if we don't grow in a mega church, or have our own television ministry. If you ask me if I want that, of course, that's not the aim. That's not the definition of success. We just need to do this one thing. Be faithful unto death. The first thing is we should never underestimate the power of God's salvation. The second is we shouldn't despair or point to people if a certain work doesn't succeed. So the third thing is this: we should quit running away. In one way or another, unbelief is running away from God. So if the Spirit is speaking to you right now, the question comes, are you running away from God? You may say that you are religious, but let me ask the question. There are only two kinds of religion today. One is because of human invention or human imagination. If the origin of that kind of a belief comes from human invention, then that is not true religion. That religion is by God's revelation. If it comes from here, then that's the only way. That's the only way. You know, Proverbs 28 verse 1 says, the wicked, the guilty, run away when no one is chasing them. When did you learn to run away from? To stand up and walk out? Well, Adam and Eve did that. When they sinned and they hid. Of all things that they can do, and they hide from God. And so God was looking for them. We wanted to be good. Where are you? Oh, we did because we disobeyed you. But the thing is this. You're running away against this God. Onesimus has to be stopped in Rome. Maybe this is Rome for some of you here. So quit running, because grace will find you out. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 15, and we close with this verse. Why it is said today, if you will hear his voice, if Jesus is speaking to you right now, harden not your hearts in the conversation. Put all your trust in him and believe him forever. Jesus is so beautiful. It's a great and wonderful Savior. He is found out Onesimus. He is found out you. Let me just say this, that if you have known me before I became a Christian, you would probably have been good at more words than Onesimus, and you would probably help this guy's feet wouldn't be a Christian. Well, there's a need, God can do with sinners like Onesimus that he would know. That's true. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for the word. We thank you that even a short letter like this, you can see a lot of things that you can learn from. Oh, thank you for the grace that find us out. Oh, the grace that sought the lost. Thank you, Lord, because you saved us, not because we saved ourselves. We thank you because you are actually living. We thank you because though the things happening in our lives, the circumstances happening in our lives, sometimes we don't understand or why an accusation. You know, you work all things. So I pray, Lord, that for those who are still running away from you right now, whoever they are, you know who are there, that you will meet them on their road to Damascus and see. And for us, on the way, we just want to thank you. Help us to be grateful people every day and to show that appreciation in our service to God and in the name of Jesus Christ.